It started with a splash, loud enough to wake my dog and trip the motion sensor at 12:47 a.m. At first, I thought it was a raccoon again. Then I checked the live feed from my pool cam. 3 figures, mid-40s, wine glasses in hand, drifting on my inflatable loungers like they owned the place. One of them, Karen, the HOA vice president, laughed loud enough for the mic to clip. "He's out of town this week," she said. "I checked the schedule." She was wrong. I slipped on my boots, hit record on my phone, and stepped out back with the porch light off. The night air smelled like chlorine and cheap rosé. When I flipped the switch, they froze mid-float, eyes wide, mouths open. "Neighborhood watch in action," I said. Karen sputtered. "Oh, we're just checking the filter. HOA business. At 1 a.m.? In swimsuits?" They scrambled out like guilty teenagers. One of her friends left behind a monogrammed towel. I bagged it for evidence. By sunrise, my inbox lit up with a notice from the HOA. Reminder, pool fences must remain unlocked for community safety compliance. Translation. Karen had tried to justify breaking in by claiming my locked gate violated some phantom rule. I checked the bylaws. Section 8C, subsection 2. Homeowners may secure private amenities provided emergency access remains available. My pool met every requirement, so I printed the section, highlighted it, and taped it right to the gate. That afternoon, the same towel disappeared from my porch. A petty move, but it confirmed one thing. They were bold enough to come back. The next week brought a slow burn of harassment. My trash cans were misplaced. My sprinkler line mysteriously snapped. A friendly notice appeared taped to my mailbox. "Your landscaping violates community aesthetics. I'd mowed 2 days earlier." Karen started waving to me every morning. That smug HOA smile plastered on her face like daring me to make a scene. I didn't bite. Instead, I upgraded my cameras, one disguised as a birdhouse, another tucked inside the grill handle. Day 4, caught her husband clipping a piece of my fence for measurements. Day 6, saw their friend dump leftover pool toys behind my shed. Every file went into a folder titled HOA Trespass Evidence. The breaking point came one Saturday evening. I'd just finished grilling when I heard laughter again. Same voices, same wine, same splash. This time I didn't go outside. I watched. They'd jumped the side fence, carried in snacks, and even plugged a speaker into my outdoor outlet. The audacity was Olympic level. But the real kicker? Karen's voice on the audio feed saying, "He can't prove anything without witnesses." She was half right. I didn't need witnesses. I had timestamps. By Sunday, I drafted a complaint packet, photos, video clips, HOA bylaws highlighted, and GPS data from my gate sensor showing forced entry at 11:42 p.m. I sent a digital copy to the property manager and CC'd the county sheriff's office. 2 days later, I got a response, not from the HOA board, but from Karen herself. Her email read, "You're creating unnecessary hostility in our community. Please delete your recordings. The HOA will be discussing your conduct at the next meeting." My conduct, not theirs. That's when I knew the game had shifted from petty to political. So I did what I always do when people underestimate me. I got professional. Next week, I had a consultation with my attorney, Davis. He specialized in property disputes, dry humor, sharper suits. After 10 minutes of reviewing the footage, he leaned back and said, "You've got them dead to rights. Let's see how they like being on the other side of a compliance letter." He drafted a cease and desist under state trespass statute, paragraph 602.8, with civil penalties for every incident. Each trespass could cost them $1,000. I printed 3 copies, addressed them by name, and sent them certified mail. By the time the next HOA meeting rolled around, everyone would have the same question Karen hated most. What exactly were you doing in his pool at midnight? The real fun was just beginning. Karen didn't show up to the next HOA meeting in person. She dialed in over Zoom, camera off, pretending to have a migraine. Classic move. Her friends, however, the pool squad, sat right across from me, avoiding eye contact as the president read my complaint aloud. My footage had already circulated privately among the board. You could tell by the way everyone kept glancing at Karen's empty chair on the screen. When the president finished, there was a long pause before someone muttered, "This is serious." Karen's voice crackled through the speaker. "Those videos were taken without consent. That's a privacy violation." I kept my tone even. "On my own property, with posted signage. Section 3B HOA Surveillance Clause. Read it." Silence. Then the president said, "We'll investigate both sides," which was HOA code for, "We're terrified of conflict, so let's pretend we're neutral." Fine by me, because my investigation was already underway. That night, I added 2 new tools to my arsenal. 1, a GPS tracker discreetly mounted on the pool gate latch. 2, a fresh Wi-Fi door sensor that pinged my phone every time the gate opened. I synced both to a local backup drive at 12:16 a.m. ping. At 12:17 splash. The cameras caught them again. Karen this time in a sun hat, of all things, under moonlight. Her friends carried a bottle of Chardonnay and a Bluetooth speaker. They'd apparently convinced themselves that if they didn't look guilty, they weren't. But the best part came 15 minutes in. Karen, lounging on a pool float, whispered, "He's bluffing. The HOA can't touch me. The camera mic caught every syllable." By morning, I had her words transcribed and time-stamped. I compiled the video, the GPS data, and the motion logs into one concise folder labeled Exhibit Poolgate. Then I called Davis. He laughed once, low. "That's textbook malicious trespass," he said. "Want to make it official?" I did. We filed a civil complaint through the county clerk's office. 3 counts of trespass, 1 of property damage, and 1 of harassment through misuse of HOA authority. I also submitted a copy to the local sheriff's department for good measure. The HOA received notice 2 days later. By the afternoon, Karen's allies started to scatter. One resigned as landscaping chair, citing personal reasons. Another stopped waving when I passed by. The silence was better than music, but Karen herself doubled down. She sent out a neighborhood-wide email titled, "A Disturbing Pattern of Surveillance in Our Community." She claimed I was spying on residents and creating division. I just hit reply all and attached the screenshots, her and her friends at my pool, drinks in hand, with a date stamp. No words, just proof. The thread went nuclear. Half the neighborhood backed me instantly. The other half stayed quiet, waiting to see which way the wind blew. That's when I decided to end it, once and for all, with a sting that would leave no doubt. Friday evening, I hosted a barbecue, casual invite, burgers, music, open yard, even sent a polite invite to Karen, just to keep it civil. Predictably, she declined. But I wasn't interested in her RSVP. I'd replaced my backyard motion lights with high-lumen floodlights, silent, remote-triggered, connected to my phone. My cameras were set to stream directly to a cloud folder Davis could access. At 11:58 p.m., the gate alert pinged again, same pattern, same culprits, Karen leading the pack. This time, though, as soon as they hit the water, I tapped the screen. The yard exploded with light. They froze, soaked, and stunned, while a recorded message played through my outdoor speakers. "You are being recorded. Law enforcement has been notified. Please exit the property immediately." Karen screamed something about community access rights. Her voice cracked. Her friend dropped a wine glass. And this time, when the sheriff's cruiser pulled up, because, yes, Davis had arranged for an off-duty deputy to monitor my alerts, they were still standing in the shallow end. The deputy didn't even raise his voice, just said, "Ma'am, you're on camera. Step out of the pool." Karen's expression, caught in high definition, was worth every late night and every piece of hardware I'd bought. By dawn, my inbox had a new message from the HOA. "An emergency board meeting has been scheduled to address recent events." I smiled. The board wasn't calling a meeting to question me this time. They were calling it to deal with her. The tide was turning, and she didn't even know how bad the current was about to get. The emergency HOA meeting was standing room only. Neighbors who hadn't attended in years showed up clutching coffee cups and curiosity. You could feel the tension before the gavel hit the table, like static before a storm. Karen sat 3 seats down from the president, wearing a blazer a shade too bright for the mood. Her friends hovered behind her, whispering. She tried to look composed, but her foot kept tapping under the table. The president cleared his throat. "We're here to discuss the recent trespassing incidents involving the community pool, correction, a private pool." Karen's jaw tightened. I stayed silent until my turn came. Davis sat beside me, briefcase open, his voice calm as a metronome. "My client has provided irrefutable evidence," he began, "including time-stamped video footage, GPS entry logs, and certified correspondence. What's in question isn't surveillance, it's criminal trespass under state law." He slid a USB stick across the table. The president hesitated, then plugged it in. The monitor flickered to life. Up came the footage. Karen laughing, clinking glasses, floating on my pool raft. Then the moment the floodlights hit, her face frozen in shock. The room went dead quiet, just the hum of the projector fan and someone's nervous cough. Karen broke first. "This is harassment. He set us up." Davis didn't even look up. "Correction. He secured his property. You chose to enter it." The president rubbed his temples. "Karen, this is indefensible." Her friends started whispering again, but this time their whispers turned on her. By the end of the meeting, the board voted unanimously to remove her as vice president, effective immediately. They also issued a formal apology to me and an emergency review of HOA abuse of authority. But that wasn't the end. The sheriff's office followed up with a summons the following week. Trespass, vandalism, and property damage, all backed by video. Davis filed a civil claim for damages and legal fees. The total? Roughly $8,400, factoring in repairs, security upgrades, and time. Karen's lawyer tried to settle. Davis didn't blink. "Full restitution or we go to court," he said. 3 weeks later, she caved. Payment in full, signed agreement, and a clause requiring her to issue a written apology to the HOA members she'd misled. The apology was read aloud at the next meeting, line by line, her voice flat and brittle. "I acknowledge my actions were inappropriate and violated both community and legal boundaries." She didn't finish the sentence before her voice cracked. The board thanked her for her honesty. I thanked Davis for his precision. After that, things quieted down. The same neighbors who once waved out of obligation now stopped to chat. The same board that once cowered behind policy started citing real bylaws. Even the HOA newsletter added a new line in bold. Private property boundaries must be respected at all times. My pool stayed locked, my cameras stayed up, and the nights were finally quiet again. A month later, I replaced the monogrammed towel, the one she left behind that first night. Not as evidence anymore, but as a reminder. It hangs on a hook near the gate, perfectly clean, perfectly dry. Because in this neighborhood, water wasn't the only thing that left a mark. Some folks think standing up to an HOA is about ego. It's not. It's about boundaries, literal ones, measured in feet, fences, and signatures. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. When you document everything, you don't need to yell. You just let the truth make the noise.